hello to my four friends and to Tavarishi being forced to watch this, and a special salute to any unsuspecting internet stranger whose algorithm decided this is for you. Now, listen up. I have an idea to pitch to you while I stare into your soul with my unsettling East European eyes. Don't worry. I know ain't no eye candy. We got a slideshow.
What you need to know about me is that I have two very different fields of interest. On one hand, there's technology, science, and engineering. On the other, culture, politics, and history.
For a long time, I thought they were unrelated in the slightest, and I had to keep them separate. But recently, I realized just how wrong I was because technology and culture have always gone hand in hand, influencing and driving each other.
In order to better understand myself, to discover my identity through the things that fascinate me, and to connect everything together, I decided to begin this research project. My goal is to explore European history, to understand how geography, resource availability, culture, language, religion, folklore, politics, wars, natural disasters, technology, science, and engineering influenced each other and shaped human civilization. Through sharing my findings and thoughts online, I hope to build a community of people willing to some extent to accompany me on this journey. This community does not need to be big or consist of like minded individuals. In fact, I hope it doesn't. I want to be able to connect with people and to learn new information and perspectives. To start off, I am making a master video. The purpose of this so-called master video is to pitch the concept and introduce the framework of this project.
Of course, it's also for me to help me visualize and digest what I have just signed up myself for.
The way I decided to approach this seemingly gigantic subject is by deciding what it is that interests me the most and building around that.
I do not need to explain every little thing that happened since the Big Bang. I just need to start at the events that laid the foundations for the technologies and cultures that I am interested in.
The technologies I wish to focus on are mainly weapons, vehicles, and industrial machinery.
This is not to say that I won't digress to other technological fields whenever I find so relevant or pleasurable.
The cultures I find myself most fascinated by are the Germans, the Eastern Slavs, the Magyars, the Dacians, and the Anatolians.
If you are wondering why I didn't refer to these groups by their modern names, it's because their ethnic and national identities have changed and evolved over time, and I thought these terms would remain most accurate throughout the quite large time period I'll be covering.
With this in mind, I broke up the world into various geographical regions and indicated a couple of subregions that I find of particular interest. Then I also divided the timeline into 8 so-called technological eras. I decided to start my research around the 6th century, right after the fall of Western Rome and the beginning of the Middle Ages.
It is during this time period that the foundations for the social systems, states, trade routes, migrations, and technologies that define modern human history have begun.
This era ends abruptly with the Mongol invasion of Europe, which was perhaps one of the key events that shaped Eurasian history.
It is under the Mongols that Afro-Eurasia became deeply interconnected with trade routes. In order to regain autonomy, the European societies consolidated into larger kingdoms, which over time became the nations you will find on the map today. Yeah, I have a cheat sheet right here, okay? I have a bad memory, sue me. Blah, 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 blah. Don't. My mom is a lawyer. You don't want to sue me.
The next era naturally begins with the gradual retreat of the Asian powers from the European peninsula and the formation of major European empires. Flash forward a few centuries and we land at the World Wars, which I will be focusing on in great detail, as this is the time period that gave rise to modern technology. It is followed by the Cold War, another era I would like to explore in detail.
I intend to explore the nature of industrialization and how it compares between capitalistic and socialist societies.
With the fall of the socialist states around 1990, we enter the latest cultural, political, and technological era, the global digital age. To keep track of everything, I'm working on a three-dimensional diagram. This diagram is the backbone of my project. I will keep referring to it and updating it as I make new content. The way this diagram works is by having 8 levels, each representing one of my defined technological eras. On each level, my region of interests are indicated and arrows show their interactions with each other.
I was not able to find any diagram like this on the internet, so I think this is actually going to be the first one of its kind. I plan to make it three-dimensional and animated, and I'm gonna show it to you in my next video. I'm gonna explain it to you, and I think it's gonna be very fun.
Now, the real question is, so what? I've only explained why this is important to me. Why is my project important to you? Well, maybe it's not.
But if you are interested, stick around, engage, give me feedback, give me suggestions, give me criticism. Please, I will appreciate it, I promise.
If you do decide to stick around, here are some things you can expect from me. Discussions of fun engineering and science topics, diagrams, models, animations, and analogies that will help you and myself to understand these topics better. I will be doing some fun projects and going on some side quests.
Maybe you will be able to participate as well. Voluntarily, of course.
Hostage, I mean cameos of my friends who are also nerds and would love to yap about this stuff with me together.
If I don't happen to have a friend who's more knowledgeable in any given topic I'll be researching, I may ask for volunteer victims among you, my very small but very dear audience.
Political, historical, and pop culture references. Речь на разных языках, so wie Deutsch, Darshi und Alte, because I am a polyglot and I love to show that off. I also need an excuse to practice speaking some of the languages I've been studying.
And have fun using my native language. I have an accent in it too.
For your information, I am very, and I mean very financially irresponsible. So most of my closet is full costumes from Ukraine, Moldova, Romania, Hungary, and Austria.
You bet I'll be using any and every excuse to show them off to you guys. This is from Slovakia, by the way. I'll be using folk and communist music in the background because, well, it's not copyrighted. And also it slaps real hard. And I don't care what your political opinion is. This is not debatable. Commie music slaps hard, okay? It just goes.
As you probably already caught on,
My sense of humor is, на любителя.
speaking of my sense of humor, expect a lot of jokes and gags. Now, I understand some of my jokes may turn out cringy, but it is a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Before I let you birdies fly free, let me briefly list some topics I will definitely cover soon. If you know me at all, you know the first item is radios. Then also airplanes and jets, it's a must. And you probably saw it coming, but locomotives. My general approach to most videos will be to go back in time and talk about why this technology was developed in the first place. What was the need for it?
If it was discovered accidentally, somebody still had to see potential in that and invest in its development. I will explain the earliest, simplest designs of a technology, and then I'll go step by step into the future and explain how and why the design evolved. I believe the best way to understand how something works is not by memorizing what each component does, but to learn about it from an engineer's perspective. How did the engineers come to this design, right? Why were components added, removed, or changed?
There are some topics I want to discuss that are a bit different. I'm an electrical engineering student, so sue me, again, figure of speech, don't, but I want to talk about circuitry, and also the different European ethno-linguistic groups and how the linguistic, cultural, political, and religious differences affected the development of technology and industry in their respective regions.
Alright, this is it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Expect the next video around, I'd say 3 weeks. But yeah, see you soon. Покурint, до свидания, bis bald. Sziasztok! Love you guys.